This is Gamil Grand for one of our podcasts, the CXO of the Future podcast series here at Mayfield. And I'm just really pleased to have our special guest today, Deepak Seth, who I've known now for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. And just a really awesome experience to get to know you over the years, and really thrilled to have you as our special guest today. So thank you for joining us, Deepak.
Thank you, Gamil. I have been following your CXO of the Future podcast for many years now. In fact, I remember like a few years ago, we had met for breakfast in one of the Dallas hotels when you were just trying to get this off the ground, and we exchanged notes and all. So it's been, looks like a lot of water under the bridge since then. This has been going great places, and really love the opportunity to join you as a guest on the show.
So thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for the support. So let's get started. We really want to learn about your background and how you got started so that we can learn from this, your own experience, and share with others about how to get a successful career like you now have at Charles Schwab. So I know you didn't start at Charles Schwab, and you started, I know you went to University of Texas there in Austin. You also went to school in India, but you started where? Where was your first job, and how did this impact your career today?
That's a great question, Gamil. Makes me go down memory lane. So my basic undergraduate degree was in industrial engineering, which many people used to say industrial engineering is all common sense, and we used to say, hey, common sense is not so common. So after industrial engineering, I had done postgraduate qualifications in management. Both of these were from the Indian Institute of Technology and Indian Institute of Management. But unlike most people who go to a cushy corporate job, I went to a job which took me into the hinterlands of India, into the countryside. I joined the family products division of what was then Glaxo India Limited. And what my task was, working on things to improve the productivity of those operations. And I rode the milk truck to collect milk, because this was a dairy products based unit. Worked the night shift, saw people working. Amongst one of the most exciting things I did there was run a suggestion scheme there, or a suggestions program, which was about getting suggestions from the employee to improve productivity, and then evaluating the value derived from those suggestions and giving the employees a share of the profits which will result from them. Wow. So this program was highly successful, and I got an award from the chairman of the company as one of the most popular employee engagement and suggestions program in entire Glaxo. So yeah, Gamil, you have a question popping up.
So how did that skill set that you learned there in that first role impact the rest of your career, and how does it bring you forward to today, to your role now at Charles Schwab? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the steps you took to get to there.
Yeah, so what in one way it was very foundational, because what that kind of role did, it showed to me the value of engaging people to deliver common objectives. So a lot of what I have done after that in delivering projects and delivering innovations for companies like Xerox and Charles Schwab, and earlier at Accenture, is not about just me, myself, but it is harnessing the power of so many people to deliver the objective. So that has been a skill which has served me in good stead. So it's always it might sound cliched, but it's all about the team. It's about making sure, creating the right environment that every team member is able to deliver their best.
That's awesome. So let me shift now to the next question. I really love to learn about leadership. And you've had, I'm sure, amazing managers that you had to work for, from your first job to probably today. Are there particular leadership skills that either you have learned from others or that you have honed yourself that you think we can all learn from?
Yeah. So one thing which I have learned, and which has served me in good stead, is like ability to create the vision. And aligning, as I mentioned in the earlier questions, also aligning the stakeholders to deliver the objectives. And what I mean about that is, like, many times in technical roles, what happens is people get so focused on the task per se. Okay, yes. We are upgrading to the next version, or we are installing this software kind of thing. But what I like to do, and what I have felt over the years, is that people are more engaged when they know they're not just laying the bricks, but they know that they are building a cathedral or building a temple or something of that sort. So providing or creating that vision, I think is a very important part of what any leader does. And I have always strived to do that. And what sometimes creating that vision means drawing from your own personal experiences too. So an interesting one which I have used often is a few years ago I did a tandem skydive. And
Wow.
so the tandem skydive itself was means many people do it kind of thing. But what I did was then I related it to the way a project gets executed as a company. So
Nice.
we start off with a lot of fear and uncertainty, and I linked every stage of the tandem skydive experience with the project experience, and then it created really powerful imagery and messaging. So I love sharing that talk track. It's a great
So
story.
building a cathedral, but make sure you've got a parachute. Is that the analogy? So what are the obstacles in trying to drive that vision story? So you have team individuals who have different agendas, different skill sets. They're coming at the project with different roles and responsibilities. How do you get everybody on this cathedral agenda vision, I guess?
Yeah, so that's the grand vision of building the cathedral, and then you go down to the next level of granularity. And one thing which I have observed in projects over the years is failure happens at the seams. So failure happens at the point where two systems, two individuals, two processes are interfacing with each other. And a powerful visual which I have shared about that over the years is, so US has one of the greatest athletics running teams, like whether it's 100 meters or 400 meters, best athletes. But in the relay race, 4x400 or 4x100, US always used to miss winning the gold medal. And the reason was that the teams used to drop, like one or the other player used to drop the baton. So the messaging, the key part, which like in the vision, in terms of the execution, is I try to reinforce with the teams the need to make sure that the baton changes when things are moving from one team to another, one process to another. They are done in the most effective way. And your work is not done when you have ran your piece, but it is still the other guy picks up the baton and runs with it. So it sounds very basic, but what I have found is most of the times people are just either they have not got the baton and they don't say anything, or they have got the baton and it's dropping and they don't say anything, or the guy who's reached with the baton is not calling out the team that, hey, I'm ready with it. So those kind of little things, and then creating the whole mindset around this has been a very powerful execution tool.
So is that a planning exercise, meaning plan the handoff of this baton, or is it really just better communications throughout the entire project?
Great question, Gamil. But it's a combination of both. You start with the planning, and then you take it all the way through execution, and you build the muscle memory so that it becomes almost second nature, that you have to communicate. So it's a planning thing as well as a communication thing. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
So Deepak, let me now ask you about technology. We're at a very interesting time in technology history. Everybody's talking about AI as all the rage. But my primary question is, what do you think is the most important technology prediction topic that we should be spending more time thinking about? And do you have a particular optic that you're honing in on right now?
You stole my thunder, I guess. but it's very true. So I saw the AI bus coming a few years ago. In fact, I went back to school and did some postgraduate qualifications in AI and ML because I didn't want to be caught off guard when this thing came down the pike. So there are two parts to the question. Yes, AI is the biggest thing right now. In the short term, we will see intermediaries come up who will help companies figure out how to implement generative AI, what to do with it. So it could be the big consulting companies, or it could be smaller players who do some prompt engineering stuff and all that kind of things to help companies move that way. In the medium term, we will see some government regulations, traffic lights, controls, equity and aspects come into play. And companies, institutions, governments will get a better handle on it. And I'm most excited about the long term, where I think what's going to happen is we are already seeing the beginnings of that. That is the human and AI interface So right now it is going one way. We know about the Neuralink and other stuff where you are seeing the thing about how neural implants and stuff are making impaired humans work effectively through interaction with AI. But I think there may be other things emerging where there is a lot of redundant capacity in our brains, which is unutilized or underutilized. So I'm sure there would be some things which will happen. Means research and stuff is going on in this direction, which will help leverage human intelligence in conjunction with artificial intelligence. We all are carrying a supercomputer in our brains, which we are using in our skulls, which we are using less than 5% of. So think of the immense potential which can be unleashed if we are able to harness the true potential of our own human brain and linking it with artificial intelligence as well as with all other human brains. So that's
definitely far-reaching stuff. So you're coming right out of a science fiction movie, but you think it's real and you think there's real potential there in the Neuralink.
Not just the Neuralink part. I'm going the other way more than the Neuralink, but come to think of it, all what we are seeing today was the realm of science fiction just 10, 15 or maybe 20 years ago kind of thing. So which brings me to the second point related to your question, which is around, so AI is the flavor of today, generative AI is the special flavor of today, but bigger than that, I think, is the general thing around disruption. So how can companies be prepared for disruption? And what my hypothesis has been, or what I have spoken about it, I've published about it in Harvard Business Review and stuff, is around that most of the disruptions are not big bang disruptions. People would like to think that they are big bang disruptions, but they all come in a slow and measured way. It can be a fast and measured way, but you can see them coming. So companies which figure things out, which get prepared for them, will be able to ride the bus, and others would be left by the wayside. So even this AI bus has been like more than 20, 30 years in the coming. The underlying technology has been around for years now. The hardware has got up with the software and all that good stuff happening, kind of thing. But yeah. So whether it was the digital camera or film camera, anything, means we have to be ready for the disruption.
So as a program director there at Charles Schwab, what's the practical advice you're giving either to yourself or to your team around disruption? So if Gen AI themes and technology, co-piloting, prompt engineering, new sort of natural language processing of different environments, so where would you point your arrow at this point?
So right now means in a big corporations take some time wrapping their brains around those things. So first of all, you have to build the internal momentum for these things. Second thing is around proving the use case kind of thing. So identifying use cases and then doing POCs and establishing the use case. Even if someone else has done it, every company has their unique set of requirements. Especially in some sectors, the requirement for privacy and controls is much more than other sectors. So all those things come into play. So I'm not at a liberty to speak about what's exactly happening in the Schwab world, but generally means as is happening in almost all companies, a lot of customer interaction, means internal people who interact with customers will get empowered using these tools and technologies. Using the vast amount of data and information we have internally.
Yeah, awesome. So as we close, so first of all, thank you once again for being our special guest today. I always love to ask sort of a closing question. Is there a takeaway or a rule that you live by, or some sort of model that you'd love to share as a final closing comment with our audience?
Yeah, sure, Gamil. In fact, I'll give you two.
Great. A bonus.
The first one is 100% do it. And this came from one of my bosses at Bausch & Lomb, Jaspal Singh Bajwa, and the team had put it together. And the 100% do it, it is 100% delivery, 100% ownership, 100% integrity, and 100% teamwork. So we used to carry cards which this emblazoned on it, 100% do it. So we like to call ourselves the 100% do it team. And this has held me in good stead even till now. And the other one is something from Charles Schwab, and it comes from Mr. Schwab himself, which is around through clients' eyes. So whatever we do, we like to frame it in terms of the impact it will have on the client. And this ties back to what I was saying earlier about creating the vision and the building the cathedral kind of thing also. We need to frame whatever we do in terms of the value we are delivering for our clients. So when we start looking at everything that way, it becomes a very powerful way of operating.
Yeah, awesome. I love those two. So thank you for the bonus. One from Chuck Schwab himself, right?
Yeah.
I love the 100% do it though. I love that that thesis across delivery, ownership, integrity, and teamwork. Those are four great principles to live by. Deepak, thank you so much for being our special guest today on the Mayfield CXO of the Future podcast series. Love your insight. Love your relationship with us here at Mayfield. Thank you for continued support and look forward to staying in touch with you.
Absolutely, Gamil. This was a pleasure and a privilege, and all the best to all what you do. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.